Welcome to the gloriousness that is the African dawn. We're in search of Africa's wonderful creatures, and this is Safari Live. Ready?
Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Morning, and welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve. My name is Nat.Geo Smith. I have Jean-Dre on camera, and we're looking for the Nkahuma Pride. We checked the last position of that buffalo kill. Unfortunately, no lions there. So we're just having a quick run down our southern boundary. Our western boundary, I do apologize, to make sure that they haven't disappeared out of our traverse area. If nothing here, we're going to start moving our way back towards where the last position of them last night was. And hopefully they're going to be out and about and full of joy this morning. Now, remember, this is 100% live, and you can ask us questions by using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or you can send us an email to questions@WildEarthTV. So we're looking carefully into the bush here, both sides of the road, and there's some quite thick areas on the left, and that's the area where they were lying yesterday. So we're hoping they've got up and either gone east or south or north, but I didn't see any tracks on the main access road, so I'm hoping they've gone more south parallel to this road. It is going to be a stunning day. Kitty cats, where are you? Yes, I can see them. There's tracks, but they're from yesterday. They've been driven over. Now, if they were really full, they might not have moved too far. Oh dear. Well, there's tracks of one lioness crossing into Sibambili. It's only one though, so let's keep checking. Hopefully she's come back, or the rest of the pride have stayed behind. Here we go, you can see where they were last night. See where they were lying. I'm just going to jump out of the vehicle, quickly have a look. Dear, oh dearie dear. So they have crossed right here out of our traverse area, unfortunately. Now this doesn't mean that they might not do a loop and cross back in further to the south, so we'll keep checking. Fingers crossed that they've decided to come back. Hello, Justin. Justin says, Brent, you've got to speak their language to get them to come back. I'll give it a go. I'll do some contact calls as we wander down the western boundary. Ow! Bow! Ow! Hopefully they heard that. Tracks of the Nkomas cross into Sibambili, One Eye Pan. Now, of course, I'm not the only soul wandering around the African bushveld, so let's go say good morning to Commander Bond.
There is the sun, everybody. Welcome to this end of the Sunrise Safari. My name is James Henry. On camera today, VM Dorenbrak. It's always a quick thumb with VM. And we're going down Twin Dams Road, that's the road we're on now, hoping to find the inimitable Shongile, Kurula, and Hosana, the royal couple, not couple at all, the royal family, I suppose we should say, of Djuma. Please do talk to us during the course of the drive. Hashtag Safari Live, question to WildEarthTV. Those are the two best ways to get hold of us. As I said yesterday, carrier pigeons, telephones, smoke signals, and Morse code will be ineffective. Wonderful. Now, also in my ear is Rebecca. I've failed to announce the final control many times for the last few days, so Rebecca is in my ear and Jerry is tapping away at the keys. And that is the story for this morning. I think Stef will be out shortly on foot with Brian. And that's the team for the day. I don't know why that Hadeda is so angry. VM wants to know why the Hadeda, which is going over there, is so cross, and I really can't say why it's so cross, but it isn't very happy. A Hadeda, everyone, for those of you who do not know, is an Ibis, a large bird with a probing beak about that long that it uses to peck out worms. It's about 19 degrees Celsius today, apparently, I'm told. It feels a little more chilly over here. So, sitting at around about 69 degrees Fahrenheit. It will probably go up to about 780 degrees Fahrenheit by the time 2 o'clock rolls around this afternoon. We have seen some frolicking impalas so far today. They were enjoying a little bit of the dawn, but they stopped frolicking before we came live. Now, the one thing with this vehicle that I'm driving, Jigger, is that the door here spontaneously opens and then rattles, which makes it very difficult to not sort of lose one's mind during the drive. But now I've fixed that problem. Phew. Now, Byron, unfortunately, has left us today. He has moved on to, well, a little bit of holiday, I suppose, as we head towards the Christmas period. That's good on him. But he came down here yesterday and found Shongile, the little female leopard. And isn't it interesting, I think, how she is starting to spend more and more time on her own. And Hosana spent 2 days alone. Shongile seems to be spending increasing amounts of time on her own, and that's not to say that the family has split just yet, but it is showing signs of the typical fracture that happens with a leopard family when the cubs get a little bit older. They are 10 months old as of the 2nd of December. Now, they could be anywhere around here. We're going to keep an eye out for tracks on the road, drag marks of hapless animals that have been killed by one of them. We'll see what happens. Hello, Erica. You're in Toronto, and you've joined. Oh, look! VMP, can you see the puff back there, puffing its back. It stopped. Everybody, that is the black-backed puffback. If you go to the right, VMP, he's in the same tree. That's it. There. That's him there, that black and white bird. And he goes, that's him going, quite a lot of bird going on in there. Oh, very nice. That's a juvenile. No, was it? I think that might be a brew actually. Juvenile brew, which is a kind of a shrike. Got parrots in the background. Yes. Sitting with a white-browed scrub robin. Is that a white-browed scrub robin? Yes. That's a bearded robin. That's very cool. I've never seen one here before. But that's a bearded robin. It's got no beard, of course, but the ornithologists don't worry about whether or not their names make any sense. Wonderful. Oh, and a red-backed shrike, one of the first we've seen this year. In fact, that is my first one this year. Come all the way from England. I don't know if that one specifically has come all the way from England, but that is one of the destinations to which they go and come back. This little banded mask, and I think in Britain they're just known as the shrike because it's probably the only shrike species that they get here. There. Let me try and find this robin for you and make sure that I haven't lost my mind entirely. Robin 344. It's not very modern to use a book like this, of course, but you know, when you're at my advanced age. It was a bearded robin, you know. See, there is the white-browed scrub robin. And there is the bearded robin. Now, the bearded robin, you can't really see the front of it, but it's got that very obvious stripe there. And it's got one the other side as well, which I think is why it's called bearded. Now, does anybody have bearded robin on their bird list? I think that's just really, really cool. Marvellous. Vim, have you seen the bearded robin here before?
Maybe.
Vim says maybe. That means he hasn't been paying attention, of course. Oh, hang on, is it still the shrike? It's still the shrike. Never mind. Never mind. Hello, Talik Kibble. You say, oh, it looks like a birding day today. Well, if we see birds, absolutely it will become a birding day, especially if we stop seeing any leopards. Right, I need to get back to the question from Toronto from Erica. You want to know what animals we see during the day, during the morning, early morning. Erica, there's really not much distinction between the animals we see in the early morning and the afternoon. It's pretty much the same, really. But what we do find is that I suppose they're standing in slightly different habitats. So the antelope tend to be out in the open much more at this time of the day, grazing on the fresh shoots and trying to sort of gather as much food as they can before the heat starts, and then they head into the shade for the majority of the heat of the day. But otherwise, I would say, I mean, the suite of animals that we see is the same, but they tend to be out more because the heat isn't quite so bad. Now, what I just want you to listen to here is the sound of the red-backed shrike. Here he is. It's not the brown-crowned chagra and a spotted flycatcher, which has now disappeared. Sorry, not a spotted flycatcher, there's a female red-backed shrike. That's interesting. Did you see it, Vim? That one there is a brown-crowned chagra, which has the most wonderful call. Its wings flap, it goes, and then it goes. And of course the chagra is a kind of a shrike. Some wonderful birds out today. That chip 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 is the red-backed shrike. Marvelous. And we're getting into the area where Shongalai was seen yesterday. So we'll keep an eye out. I don't know if we shouldn't perhaps head into the river, maybe at the next road. We'll go into the Umluamati. The sun is going to be very, very bright today. Now James Richard, you say that 206 it was on your bird list, the bearded robin, and then another one it was 141. Missed it. And list, that's you. 141, the bearded robin. That's not a common bird for this area. Very uncommon, in fact. Often used to get them in the camp around Londolozi, which is down on the river, but not around here. No tracks as yet, so I think we'll head down into the Umluamati at the next available opportunity, which is just over here. Alright, Brent Leo Smith is actually not too far from here. He's about over there, heading that way. Let's go across to him and find out if he has found any sign of Kurula.
Well, no sign yet, so we've checked the whole western boundary. The Nkahumas have definitely not come back. So we're now on the southern boundary, and we're just going to be going very, very slowly, seeing if we can find any tracks of our Queen Karula. Now, she does bounce up and down across this boundary frequently, so we are hoping that the tracks come this way. Head to the north, deeper into Djuma. Okay. Ooh. What track was that? Where was that track? Ah! It was one of those funny tracks, very difficult to see, but quite often small birds like emerald spotted wood doves, when they decide to dust bath, it's about the same size as a big male leopard track, but of course it's not. Oh, it's still quite chilly this morning, even though the sun's up. 69 Fahrenheit, 19 Celsius. As you can see, I've got my jacket on. Morning, Leslie. Leslie would like to know how we tell the difference between a male and female lion track. Well, Leslie, it's all to do with size. I mean, the male tracks are much, much bigger, about the size of my hand or a dinner plate, or a side plate, sorry, not a dinner plate. The females are considerably smaller than that. And same with leopards, you look at the size of the track, tell you whether it's a male or female. And when it comes to male lions and leopards, even or before they're fully grown, their feet are bigger than females. Now, young Hosanna, for example, his tracks are pretty close to the size of Karula's, if not bigger already, but definitely by the baboons. If they're not bigger already by the end of next month, I'm pretty sure there will be. Lots of baboon tracks, and as we know, female leopards with cubs that generally will try avoid baboons at all costs. They can pose quite a big threat to the cubs, and even to an adult leopard, adult female. Those massive canines. Now this is one of the Queen's favorite crossing points. Anywhere around this area. Just lots of baboon tracks so far. Baboon tracks and hippo tracks. Now, of course, at this time of the year, the leopards are feeding, not exclusively, but a lot of their diet is made up of baby impalas, which sometimes makes them quite difficult to find because they don't drag a nice big kill, so you can't see the drag marks on the roads. Generally, with most leopards, a baby impala is easy enough to just pick it up and walk, and don't let the feet drag on the ground. Now, of course, male lion coalitions can cover vast amounts of area and multiple prides, and as Liz correctly says, the Birmingham boys cover 3 prides that we know of, and Liz would like to know, are there any solitary lionesses within our Travis area? Liz, not that I know of. I haven't heard of a solitary lioness since I've been here, and I can't say I'll speak about the edges of Kruger and that area where they do go, but I think we would have heard by now if there were solitary lionesses about, so not that I know of, Liz. So if we find no tracks on this road, that's also a good sign, because it means that Karula is still within Djuma. Now, I do believe you saw, he was young Shongile yesterday, a little bit further down the road. When I was driving back from Hoedspruit yesterday, I saw my first carmine bee-eater of the season. Now we've just got to find them on Djuma. Okay, there's a vehicle on its way. We're probably going to have our morning meeting, quick chat, what's happening, what tracks are going where, which animals are where. So we've had a chat already with Roy from Arathusa. Now it looks like we're going to be chatting to Harley or Andries from Cheetah, see if they've got any revelations for us. Ah, hey! Minjan. Ah, shop. Jabat and Goma. They cross just south of One Eye Pan into Sibambili. Any sign of Krula? Okay. No, we had them on Pimpans this side yesterday, but no one's out. But we'll check now. Oh, we're causing traffic jams. Bye. Okay, so it seems like there's lots of traffic here on our southern boundary this morning. Just 1 second. Shoni, Nkoma is crossed in Sibambili. I didn't see any mail tracks. Okay, well, we're going to let them carry on. Let's sneak up ahead before we cause another traffic jam. Hopefully we can get off the road. And I think we're going to go... Oh, we'll let Sean pass. He's in more of a hurry. They're looking for a male lion. So they said they're not looking for any females this morning, only males. Good luck.
Brent.
Hi.
Hi.
How's everyone doing?
Doing a game drive right now on TV.
Yes, we're live. No jokes. That sends a signal to somewhere else, it sends it somewhere else, and then it's live.
People all over can see it somewhere else.
Yes. Well, that's why they don't. I'm not in the technical department. I just look for animals. Yeah. Cool. Good luck.
Where's the rules?
The cubs were the side. We haven't seen her though for a day.
Are they all the side?
They were, but we don't know if she still is. That's why I'm driving down the boundary. Good luck. Okay, so there we go. Morning meeting's over. And we can carry on our search. So we're now heading down towards the Moati River. And if I remember correctly, I think that's where young Shongile was, somewhere around that area yesterday. Oh. Here we found Jamie, who is with some... Here we go. She's with some guys who won the Nat.Geo Wild to Expire competition, and they are busy filming us. Morning. Again? Yeah. Any tracks?
No.
Good.
Couple of Indulamitu further along we was next.
Okay. I'm going to keep looking for Queen Karula. No tracks yet. Nkomas went into Sibambili. So we'll just keep soldiering on.
Yeah, we're right behind you.
Okay. Okay, so there's Jamie. Let's carry on. We have a tail today. Well, they're going to be bouncing between tailing us and tailing James. Maybe even stalking Stef. Well, as we head towards the Moati, it seems like Master Henry has beat us there. Let's go have a look.
Look, everybody. Isn't that so cool? That is a Crested Francolin that has decided that it's going to give us all a territorial display. That's so cool. Love seeing them like that. And then up behind there, Vyumpi has spotted a a bulbul. Is it a bulbul? No, it's a drongo. Let's go back a little. There's a bulbul and a drongo. Back a little bit. That is a dark-capped bulbul, everybody. We don't see them often either. Dark-capped bulbul with its pretty yellow tummy. And of course, as the ornithologists are wont to do, they've given it a very confusing name. Most of the bulbuls have got dark caps, of course. Some of them are not called dark-capped, though. Used to be the black-eyed bulbul, which is much more obvious. Very nice. Now, I got out here. I thought maybe I'd found some tracks of the leopard, so I got out to investigate, went for a little walk around on the banks here, but I didn't find anything further, I'm afraid. So let's keep having a look around. Hello, I'm not sure I've ever heard from Sammy Soccer before. Sammy Soccer, you want to know if it's spelled B-U-U, if it's spelled B-O-O-B-O-O? No, it's not. It's a bulbul, not a boo-boo. B-U-L, B-U-L, bulbul. There is a boo-boo, but that's spelled B-O-U-B-O-U. So a boo-boo is not to be confused with a bulbul. The boo-boo is a bit bigger, it's a bit of a shrike, whereas the bulbul is not quite the same size and is not a shrike. Vim, you should say boo-boo and bulbul. Boo-boo, bulbul, boo-boo. It is like cuckoo and cuckoo. There is a red-backed shrike sitting very prettily on a stick. Oh, look. I think that this red-backed shrike is in its first visit to South Africa. It's not quite as red on the back as it might be. See? And he's got his little bandit's mask. That's the other identifier, other than his back, which is not red as far as red goes for birds. It is more sort of russet brown. I think bandit shrike would be a much better name, don't you, Vim? The bandit shrike.
I'll call it the rusted shrike.
The rusted shrike. Well, you could do that as well, I suppose. Bulbul, boo-boo, 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 boo-boo. Hello, Trip Edwards. You say the bulbul, number 157 for you on your bird list. That's very good. It's an excellent sized bird list, that is. Now, of course, you see, in the sand, it is not easy to identify the tracks of leopard. I think there is some form of predatory animal moving along like that way. But there's just been a drive gone straight over this area, and I don't think they spotted any tracks. There she is. Going there. There are two game drives at the top there. There's definitely tracks going in there. Whether they're from yesterday or not, I couldn't tell you. Here she is. She's going along the road here. Ahe, ninjani kwalan. Kuna nkonzo ya yingwe mara TV, maybe from yesterday. Oh. So I was just telling him there that the tracks of the leopard seem to be going in here. And that is Brent Leo Smith, of course, and he too has seen sign of the leopard. Brent, do you see sign of the leopard? Yeah, gone to the south.
Gone to the south.
How very sad. Let us all mourn.
2. Now we're just looking for the track of number 3. Oh dear.
So the lions have gone, and the leopards have gone, and all the animals have gone. But we do have Jean-Dre, of course, who is an animal of sorts.
Thank you, James.
There we are. We have Jamie Patterson, who seems to be wearing some sort of beach attire on her head. Very nice. And that fellow behind everybody is doing a behind-the-scenes shoot for Nat.Geo Wild. Give us a wave there, Alex. There he is. He's now famous, you see. Well done, Alex. Your fame, well, it's difficult to make you famous if you won't look at us. There we are. There he is, everybody. See what a fine fellow he is. He's from Ohio, which is why he's here, of course. Good. Okay.
Oh dear. There's a male lion calling now, but it sounds like he isn't. Doesn't talk.
Right. Marvellous. Okay. Well, I might go to Cheetah Plains.
Okay, it goes cheese cutler.
Okay. I'll do a little turn up here because Shongile was around here yesterday. Have you got all 3 of them now? 2.
So it looks like Krule, that looks like Shongile.
Shongile. So Hosanna might be somewhere on.
Lurking.
Okay. I hear. A question from somebody called Tormented Zombie Owl. Tormented Zombie Owl, you would like to know why it is that there is somebody sitting on the front of some of the vehicles. Tormented Zombie Owl, that person's a tracker, and William is the tracker on the vehicle over there, and what William is doing is looking for tracks on the ground. It's obviously much easier for him to see them from the front of the car than it is for him to see them from where I'm sitting. So I mean, Brent and I, you will see us, and Jamie of course, see us looking over the side of the vehicle to see if we can find tracks on the road, but William is obviously in a much better position there to see the tracks. Anyway, that's what William is doing there, Tormented Zombie Owl. I'd love to know where you came up with Tormented Zombie Owl. That really is quite a name. Tormented Zombie Owl. Right, so as you may have gathered there, Karula has gone south, so has Shongile, it would look like. But maybe Hosanna is still up here in the north. I don't think any of them are far from where we are now. We might be lucky, but I think let's just have a little turn around the waterhole here, and then maybe we'll head off towards Cheetah Plains. See what we can find there. Maybe some cheetah, Viam. Hello, B. You're wondering whether the tracker would have noticed what ran in front of the car. It was an Impala. I don't know if he noticed it or not, B. I imagine he probably did. Now, I also would like very much to see Byron's Hadeda nest, but I'm not sure in which tree it is. I have just seen a Hadeda. There's a Natal Francolin. Oh, come on now! There. Oh my goodness, it's right there. That is so cool. Hi guys. Just waiting for Mum to vomit up some worms for them to eat. How delicious. This is just too awesome. Oh, wow. 3 little Hadeda chicks. So sweet. And obviously they cannot fly yet at all. Now I'm just going to, while you look at them, I'm going to open my bird app and find out how long it takes them to fledge. So cool. That is just wonderful. Hadeda. Isn't that sweet? And you might just be able to hear them. They're also going. I haven't quite found their deeply offensive call. Right, development and care of young. Hatching synchronous over a period of 5 days, blah blah. 3 clutch of eggs. 27 days from start of nest building, blah 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 blah. At 7 days, most feathers have emerged. At 15 to 16 days, feather on lower neck and head emerge. At 27 days, fully feathered. So these chaps, I suppose, are not quite at that age. Probably not quite at 27 days yet. Let's say that they're 20 days old. Nestling period 30 to 40 days. Mass at fledging 500 grams. They weigh half a kilogram only, everybody. That's a pound when they fledge at about 40 days. So in a month, they're all ready to fly from the nest. Oh, it's just wonderful. Look at the light catching them. I don't know if you can hear also, they're going. That's the noise they're making. And there's something about this, there's something about watching little birds in a nest that is just too special. I guess it adds to the reason that we love spring so much. There's just something about watching new life growing that is so very special to us as human beings. And I suppose, you know, what it gives us, of course, is some kind of connection with these birds. We understand that the mother there, it could be the father, easily, but we understand that, especially with the birds, that feeling that those birds have towards their youngsters, the complete dependence and the very clear care, attention, and, dare I say it, love that the parents give to their little chicks. Grishel, you're wondering how often they have to be fed. Grishel, they probably are fed at least 3 or 4 times a day. So they eat mainly insects and earthworms, but they will eat a variety of invertebrates and vertebrates. Sometimes mollusks, so snails and things, sometimes reptiles. But I think it's largely insects, and certainly in Johannesburg, the food from dog bowls. Definitely are not getting any food from dog bowls in this part of the world. Ellen, you're looking at the size of the Hadeda nest and you say, how big is it and how deep is it? I think, Ellen, it's probably about, it's pretty big. It's probably about 2 feet across. And it's not very deep. It's quite a shallow thing. It's probably about, I don't know, let's say 6 inches deep. So if those things stick their heads down, they will be invisible. They're very, very demanding. Fighting with each other, begging from each other. And their little beaks, you see, their beaks have still obviously got a huge amount to grow, because they would do themselves some serious damage if they weren't blunted and stunted in the nest there. Now, the Hadeda that we saw flying off, I think was almost certainly one of the parents gone off on a foraging sortie. And when it returns, then this one will fly off and do the same. So they probably actually feed more than 3 or 4 times a day. It's probably up to 6 times a day. Let me just go back to the app there. Oh, David, while we're looking at something there that it looks fairly distasteful to try and eat, you're wondering about the sense of smell, which of course is intimately woven into the sense of taste. David, the answer is absolutely birds have a sense of smell, and some birds, especially birds like the Andean condor, for example, or various New World vultures, and the obvious example here is the marabou stork. They find their prey entirely on smell. So yes, they do definitely have a sense of smell. I'm sure it does vary from species to species, though. I'm just quickly looking if there isn't anything else I can tell you about this process of birthing the youngsters. At 35 days it'll be able to fly, so 40 is when they leave home. Leaves the nest area at about 50 days and is fed by the adults up until it's 60 years old. And James, you're wondering about how long or what chances they all have to survive. Well, it says here average success of only 50%. So 1.5 of those will survive. 1.5 will not. So about, yeah, it says 50% here. But much of this, much of the studies on the Hadeda have been done in suburbia because they're hugely successful in suburban areas. So I suspect that there are probably fairly large inaccuracies when it comes to Hadedas of the wilderness. I would have said 50% was probably roundabout right, and I'll tell you why. I think that nest is not particularly difficult for a predator to come at. And I mean, were a gymnogene to come flying past here, an African harrier hawk, or, well, a monitor lizard or something like that, those chicks would be devoured very quickly. They're not exactly in a hidden position. I'm so sorry, Lucy. The game drive radio exploded into my ear. We're going to have to get your question again. Lucy, you're wondering if birds ever neglect their children, and what about other animals? Well, I suppose they do sometimes, yes, especially if they happen to be male. But birds are generally very good parents, both male and female. They tend to look after their youngsters quite well, except of course the female. Yeah, no, there's another nest here. There's a hornbill nest here. Look, just up to the left. Oh, I think he's fed already. Let me just move slightly forward. Lucy, the African jacana, the female, is a neglectful parent. She leaves it all to the males. She has a number of husbands. But the mammals, generally, I think to use the term neglect is to put a very anthropomorphic term onto what happens here. There's a hornbill nest in that notch there. And you see that long stripe there on the branch behind the closest branch. That's it. I think there's a nest in there. I've just seen a yellow-billed hornbill bring a caterpillar to there. I Might be wrong, but I think that's where it is. So, Lucy, to say that an animal neglects its young, yes, some are not very particularly good parents, but largely out here, if your parenting strategy has been a failure for some reason, so if you're not a good parent, it's highly unlikely that you would have survived out here. So yes, some of the males are completely neglectful, but that's their breeding strategy, and it works quite well for that particular species. Can you still see them then? Give you a slightly different angle. Ooh, it's not a bad angle, really. That really is very cool indeed. All the while hoping that Hosanna might come wandering past. But I don't think that's going to happen today. Sheldon, you want to know, there's another wonderful question that often gets asked about birds, mainly because as human beings we like to hear when animals behave like this. You say, do they breed for life? The answer is probably almost for life. They're monogamous, but whether that means that they have the same partner continuously, I don't know. It says here monogamous solitary nester, probably with a long-term pair bond. So remember, monogamous mustn't be confused with lifelong bonds. So we know that Egyptian geese, for example, and Wahlberg's eagles have very long-term bonds, probably almost for life. But that doesn't preclude them, at least it does preclude them having any other partners. But some birds are monogamous breeders each year, so they will find a new partner every year and get hitched up, if you like, and produce some youngsters, and then they'll move on. I think the weavers would be a good example of that. Look at that funny little thing. But you can also be monogamous and have a short-term bond, like the weavers. Then I suppose you can be polyandrous, and you can have a number of different partners. So in terms of the Hadeda, they are monogamous, but not necessarily for life. Long-term bond, but it isn't necessarily the whole life long. Very good. Let us press on from here and see what else we can find. I think we're going to probably just turn around and then head to Cheetah Plains. I haven't been there for some time. We'll do a little exploration towards the plains of Cheetah. Oops. I'm just going to ask the final control for a report on the weather and whether it's going to be rainy today. I have a feeling that there's going to be some rain, and I'm just going to warm the brakes quickly. They've started to cause nonsense again. Oh, it's a lovely sound! There we go. Fixed. 0.00 chance of rain today. What a pity. That means, of course, that it's going to be volcanically hot. Marco, you reckon those Hadedas are 3 feathered alarm clocks? They absolutely are, especially if you happen to live in Johannesburg. As we've shared many times with you, they keep many residents of Johannesburg awake, and in Cape Town, in fact, and in Pretoria, many urban centres, by yelling on the roof at 0500, which of course after a heavy night of celebration is very unpleasant. Okay, let's head across to Brent, find out where he is and what he's up to.
Well, we've checked the whole of Cheetah Cat Line. Alas, no sign of any of the big cats or wild dogs. So we've decided we're going to start heading slowly to the west, and we're going to start off by checking around the Buffelshoek waterhole. We did hear a male lion roaring, but he was roaring far far, far away to the north of us. So last night, Jandre tells me that they heard a leopard rasping around camp. Could be Tingana, so we might slowly make our way towards that area to see if we can find any sign in that around Gallagher and Voyatella. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that he's made a kill around there somewhere. But on our way, we're going to check past the Buffels Hook Dam and just slowly meander towards the west, stopping for anything that might pique our interest, including birds, because it seems like James has had such a wonderful birding morning that maybe we should try emulate. Okay. Now, wouldn't it be fantastic if we saw Mr. Djuma? We haven't seen him in a long time. Last time I saw him wasn't too far from where we are now, and this is the area that he does sort of duck into Djuma, with the rest of his territory being well to the north of us. And it seems like James has decided to make the dash to the east, see if there's anything happening on Cheetah Plains. Hopefully he has some luck there, and hopefully we have some luck on Djuma. Well, hello Abigail, who's a new viewer. Welcome to Safari Live, Abigail. And Abigail is asking if we see scat or dung, could we show it to her and tell her what kind it is? Of course we can, Abigail. I will keep my eye open for any cat scat or herbivore dung. Ooh, there's a little scimitar bull. Oh, is he going to disappear? There he is, hiding behind the leaf of a knobthorn. That is the common scimitar bull, of course, named after a scimitar with that curved beak. Oh, doing a little preening. Now, those beaks are incredibly designed to be able to pry under bark into crevices for some of their favorite snacks, which are the different species of wood borer beetle. Oh, off he goes. Now, it does seem like a good morning for birding. James has had some fantastic birds so far. Okay, we're approaching the waterhole. I wonder if anything is there. There's another. Oh no, it flew away. You can hear a bit of a bird party up ahead. And there we go, sitting in the distance is a hornbill. Kayla is wondering why a group of birds is called a party. Well, it's only called a party when there are multiple species in the same area, Kayla. Oh, there's a grey go-away bird as well. Okay, we're going to park up on the high point of the wall of the Buffelshoek waterhole and see what we can spot from there. Now, Kayla, so a bird party is a group of multiple species of birds that travel together but feed on different things. Oh, hello, geese flying off. Let's see if they come land at the water's edge. And that they do. So there we go. Let's have a look what birds are at the waterhole, because that's the only thing at the moment. So we've got some Egyptian geese. Oh, very, very still this morning, apart from numerous bird calls. Hello, Egyptian geese. Now if we come away from them, sort of to the right on the next body of water, Jandre, there's a little, looks like a three-banded plover from here, a little bit more to the right, or have you spotted something else?
No.
A little bit down, a little bit more to the right. And let me just have a look. There we go. A little three-banded plover, looking for little aquatic invertebrates as it feeds around the edge of the water. Very pretty little birds. Hello. Jandre, quickly. I don't think we've got one of these yet this year, or actually since I've been here. There. Wow, look at that. Look at that. Isn't that exciting? Wow! Isn't that incredible? Now, I wonder, I'm going to try to do a different angle on him. But if anyone can tell me what bird that is, I will be massively impressed. You can do that by using the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter or questions at WildEarthTV. I have now got no focus for anything but that bird. I'm going to try and get us opposite it so we can get a different view. That is definitely the first time I've seen that bird here on Djuma. Got him, Jandre. Absolutely exquisite. This should be a most definite new bird species for a lot of your lists. Okay, look at that. Isn't he a gorgeous? So, it is not a squawker heron, tally-ho. It is, of course, an aquatic bird, but not a squawker heron. And this is the first time I've seen one here on Djuma. And this particular individual is a female. I'm just trying to see if the male might be around. Now they're quite rare and they're really, really nomadic, so they arrive all over the place. Keeping exquisitely still, and normally you don't see them sitting out in the open like this. They generally prefer little pans that have got quite a lot of sort of thick grass or reeds around the edge. Now, the reason they're so all over the place, and their migrations are a lot to do with rainfall, so it changes from year to year. Well done, Forest. It is indeed a snipe, but the snipe it is the greater painted snipe. So there we go. There's the male with the dark chestnut head and chest, but there's the female, and that's what we're looking at now. I have given quite a good squiz around, and I can't see a male here, only a female, but isn't that exciting? Let me know if that's a new bird for you. Hashtag Safari Live, questions at WildEarthTV. It is a new one for my Djuma list. And there's that, we get a closer view of that little three-banded plover. Oh, look at that, get a screenshot with a beautiful reflection. Now, Jandre, how fast are you feeling this morning? There's mating dragonflies. They're a bit slower than the others. And you can see, okay, well, we're not going to punish Jandre too much, but look, you can see all the dragonflies drinking. And there he's got, they're the mating ones. Maybe we'll stick on them drinking. There we go. Look at that. Absolutely wonderful. Summer is definitely here when the dragonflies are out in full force. And we could definitely use a little bit more rain, but the insects have exploded. Well, let's have one last look at that beautiful, beautiful, well, new bird for me on Djuma, the greater painted snipe. Female. And she's being very kind. They don't normally sit so nicely either. Exquisite little bird. So as I was saying, highly nomadic. They follow rain. They're considered uncommon to rare through most of South Africa, a bit more common further north. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, well, let's keep moving. Now my morning is definitely been a success, just from seeing that greater painted snipe. And while we continue on to see what other creatures we might uncover, let's go across to Stef, who's wandering around on foot.
Good morning, and yes, welcome to the Sunrise Bushwalk with myself, Stef and Brian on camera today. And I can't believe we've got a painted snipe. Well, it's a new for Brent on Djuma, and absolutely, what a pleasurable sighting. I hope you got some nice pictures of it, at least anyway. I wish I could have seen it in actual fact. I have a watercolor of a painted snipe done for me by one of my guests, and it has pride of place on my wall at my house. But I suppose it's the first time you're joining us for one of these on-foot safaris. Let's just address the fact that we are walking around on foot right here, and we are in exactly the same place that you have James and you have Brent driving around this morning. And you might ask yourself, is it dangerous? And of course it's dangerous. Walking around out here surrounded by the big five and surrounded by hippo and crocodile and everything else over here, lots of snakes, lots of spiders, lots of ticks, everything else can be dangerous, but we're quite highly trained, if I do say so myself. And we know what we're doing, or at least I'd like to believe that we know what we're doing. It gives us this confidence to walk around out here. But more importantly, it's actually one of the best ways to explore Africa. Obviously on foot and on horseback are one of the earliest ways that people explored these areas, and it just adds this different dynamic or this different aspect to the vehicle-based safaris that you with Brent and James this morning. We obviously don't get as close to anything that's hairy and scary and large and grey, but we do get up close and personal with a whole bunch of different organisms, and that's what we're going to be trying to show you today. In particular, what I'm looking for right now is, I just learned recently that baboon spiders, which are the South African equivalent of a tarantula, females live in these holes, and they live in these holes for up to 25 years. And obviously at the bottom of the hole will collect a bunch of detritus. It'll be her droppings, it'll be the discarded remnants of her food. And what they do is they go through a spring clean at this particular time of the year. And they collect all of this refuse at the bottom of their holes. They spin it into a sack, like a garbage bag, and then they toss it out of their hole. Now, the best place on Djuma to find tarantulas or to find baboon spiders is right where we're standing right now. This open clearing that we call quarantine clearings is home to a multitude of different baboon spiders, but very, very numerous concentrations. And I must be honest with you, nowhere else have I found as many in such a confined space. So what I'm hoping to do is stumble upon a baboon spider's hole, which is a fist-sized hole in the ground, lined in silk. Excuse me, just clapping my hand. It's not because I'm happy this morning, it's because there's 1,000 million flies flying around my head as well. And I'm hoping that within a very short space of finding one of these baboon spider holes for you, that we can actually show you one of these refuse bags. So that is an example of what I'm doing out here today. We also heard a lion roar probably about 15 minutes ago, and it is roaring on the other side of Djuma Dam. Now, from where we're standing over here, the other side of Djuma Dam is over there. So where we heard the lions roaring is on top of that hill in the distance there, and that is where we're going to be making our way to in a second. And we're going to be making our way there not because we want to get, well, we want to go and see if we can find any track or sign of this particular lion. Lions are mostly moving at night time. Early morning like now you can still get them moving, but more importantly is that they vocalize quite a lot this time of the day. They roar, and that helped us to pinpoint his approximate direction. And what I want to go and do is go and give whatever game rangers in the area with us here a hand. We can get into places on foot that they absolutely can't do from a vehicle, and it's just going to allow us to add some value to their safaris. Hopefully if we see it as well, it gets quite exciting. Alright, so now on with my search for baboon spiders. Now, Dane, you've just asked me why their name's different if it's the same spider, and I presume you're talking about the baboon spider tarantula. So all tarantulas and baboon spiders are actually called megalomorph spiders. They're old world spiders, big, robust, strong spiders. Megalomorphs, that is how they're named across the world. In some countries though, they're called different things. So tarantula is basically what they're called in the Americas. North and South America, they're called tarantulas. In South Africa, we call megalomorphs baboon spiders because they've got 8 legs, and on the last 2 segments of every leg, so if my finger was a baboon spider's leg, the last 2 segments are hairless. They don't have hairs on, and they resemble a baboon, which is a type of primate that lives over here. They resemble their fingers. They've got these dark fingers, dark hairless fingers. So go and do yourself a favor, have a look at a baboon's hand. There should be, I don't know if you're going to find like, hey, a high five, a baboon giving you a high five, but look for golden brown baboon spider and a baboon, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Those last 2 segments on their legs, hairless and this dark color, resembling a baboon's finger, and that's what we call them over here, the baboon spiders. And they get big out here. I must be honest with you, the biggest one I've seen is bigger than my hand. So to give you an idea of how big my hand is, how am I going to do that? Here's my binoculars, bigger than my binoculars. So that size for a baboon spider, that's the golden brown baboon spider, the largest baboon spider that we find in this area. And like I say, frequents these plains. Let's see if we can find one. Now that I've told you all about this, now I have to find one. Hey, Mr. Brian. So what are we looking for? We're looking for a silk-lined hole in the ground. And they are in densities. They're very easy to spot. When you do see one, you'll see what I'm talking about. Doesn't necessarily have to be in the shade. Doesn't necessarily have to be underneath cover. They just sort of appear out of the sand over here. And of course, now that we are looking for it, a story of my guiding life, in actual fact. Hey, let's go and look for elephant, and then the elephant don't appear for the next 3 weeks. So let's go and find a baboon spider there. They're the most common spider on these plains. Nothing. Yes, I've been told when I'm concentrating that I've got to stop scrunching my face up and showing my teeth to everybody that it's an horrendous visage. So I'll keep my mouth closed and my eyes unscratched. And of course we're not going to see any of these baboon spiders. I'll tell you, so that I can put my searchy face on, I think we send you over to James and we'll carry on looking over here and see if we can find you a baboon spider.
See Stef's searching face. Do you, Vim? No. Quite frightening, really. Here we are. We find ourselves on Cheetah Plains with the strange... Oh, it's not strange at all. It is it's the white berry bush. It's just growing with slightly bigger leaves. I think probably because it's growing out of this termite mound. But there's something else here too, and it's a creeper. And I wonder quite strongly if this isn't one of the edible creepers that grows in the summer around here, and that's used for something like a generic spinach called morojo. And I think that's what this is. They're normally quite slimy. Yeah, that's the stuff. And were you to see it cooked, it looks like a sort of spinachy sort of snot consistency, really, but apparently tastes very delicious. I haven't eaten it very often. I think it tastes largely of whatever it is that you cook it in. Marvellous. Marvellous, marvellous, marvellous. Right, we're on Cheetah Plains, like I said, and what we're going to try and do is go into the plains. Just to give you an update on what there is around here, there is Quarantine and Nkanyeni, two of our favourite leopard characters. They are up in Nkoro, so we can't go and see them, but just to let you know, they seem to be having another interaction of some sort. And as Viam pointed out to me as we were driving along here, the last time they met each other they had a horrid fight, and so let's hope they've put their differences aside, because Nkanyeni was quite badly injured after that last fight that they had. Not very nice at all. Is that the door rattling? It's deeply irksome. And the car is one big rattle, you're absolutely correct. Otherwise, I'm afraid, I think we're alone here on Cheetah Plains, which is not a bad thing at all. So it feels slightly like you're exploring terra incognito. What have you got there? VM, who's doubling as a tracker, said he had some tracks. Ooh. Gumpy? Just to the right hand. Oh, there it goes. Can you see it? Back, forward. There we are. Oh, we so seldom get them on camera, and they're so beautiful. That's the black-headed oriole. I would really very much like to get a European golden oriole which doesn't have the black head. And you cannot believe the brilliance of the yellow body. Such a lovely liquid call. Hello Lance, while we were looking at some plants, I was showing you a plant that is edible and another plant that produces fruits. You say, are there any invasive plants here? Lance, there are a few now and then that come in along the rivers, but nothing kind of feral or invasive that is creating a major hassle over here. So if along the rivers, which generally rise somewhere, or they go at least through some of the communities of people that live outside the reserve and then arrive in the reserve, we get things like the Mexican poppy, there's a wild tobacco that comes along, one or two other kinds of plants which are not natural to the area, and they come in on the rivers and they have to be cleared out. Are any of them invasive? Yes, I mean to a certain extent, but I mean, for example, in the south of the country, not south of the country, in the northeast coast, around sort of Durban and north of that, there was a plant called Chromalina odorata, or the triffid weed, and that was a very invasive plant, and it took over huge swathes of natural bush and land, and it really was a major issue to get it under control, and I think it's sort of semi under control now. But not, it's really a problem. We don't have any plants like that here, which is something of a mercy. Robin, you're wondering about things like poison ivy. Are there any plants that would give us a rash when we touch them? We do get nettles here, stinging nettles, which don't so much cause a rash as they cause it's a very strange reaction actually. Your skin is very sore for a while. I mean, it's very painful, and then it kind of starts to produce water. It's almost like it's not pus, it produces this, your skin becomes wet for sort of an hour or two after that, and then it goes away. So no real rash is there. I suppose there must be one or two plants here that might give you a rash, especially if you happen to be slightly allergic, but there's nothing that makes a huge rash around here. There are no plants here that I worry about going underneath or touching or coming across, because they might cause some form of skin irritation. Cheetah Plains is at the moment not delivering a huge amount. Liz, very similar actually to the plant that I just showed you, the white berried bush, and sometimes they are confused with each other, is the potato bush, and you're wondering about the one that smells like fried potatoes or McDonald's, and that is the potato bush, Phyllanthus reticulatus. This time of the year, and certainly this time of the day, it doesn't really smell. It starts to smell in the evenings and normally in the winter time. It produces a very indistinct sort of greenish flower that smells like potatoes. It doesn't actually produce potatoes at all, it's just the smell. Now Stef has failed, I'm afraid, at this stage to find you a baboon spider, but he is having his breakfast.
I was having my breakfast, but I threw the piece of grass away. And we have found a baboon spider's hole, not the baboon spider itself. She is inside this hole. Come and have a look over here. Here we go. Here is the hole of a baboon spider. Like I said, basically fist sized. You can have a look at that over there. And this is the hole of the golden brown baboon spider. The other baboon spider that is this size is the horned baboon spider, but they have a raised entrance. Their entrance is raised up. Now, as you can see, over the entrance to this particular baboon spider's hole is this covering of silk. And there's been some debate as to why the covering of silk is there. I'll lay you out what I understand about them, and then we can put one of the theories to test. One is if they are about to molt or have molted, while they're waiting for their new skin to get hard, they spin the entrance to their burrows closed, and that allows them to stay somewhat protected. Another theory is that when they're feeding on something, so when they've come out and grabbed something out here, something large, they go down into their hole, into their burrow, and they spin the lid closed so that no dust and debris or other animals go inside there. I like to believe this particular theory, and it's only because it looks good, and that I believe that because they are so sedentary and they live for so long, and because they're so large, this particular spider is easily this size here, that they need quite a lot of moisture. And have a look at this. This is my water bottle. Let's see if we can get this going. Just going to dribble some water on there. Have a look at how the web itself holds this little swimming pool of water right here. Now some water obviously fell through on this side, but this side is holding a pool of water. And I think that they have this web here to collect moisture, and they'll come up and they will drink this moisture probably just before the sun comes up, and it's a very effective mist catcher. We've seen droplets of water on spider webs after some rain or after some mist, and I think this is exactly what that is. Interesting, hey? Now, this particular female would have been living here for some time. Now, I'm going to get your question in a sec, Anastasia. This is a female baboon spiders. Male baboon spiders are nomadic when they become adults. This is a female baboon spider. She will live for up to 25 years and live inside this hole only. When they become adults, they lose the ability to dig a new hole. And so if she were to be unearthed for whatever reason or displaced, she wouldn't be able to create a new hole. So this is where she lives all the time. Now, Anastasia, you asked me if we have baboon spiders that are poisonous. Is this one poisonous? This particular so let me put it into perspective. All spiders have venom, but not all spiders are venomous to people. So this particular spider has some venom, but the venom is not harmful to human beings. They give an incredibly painful bite. Their fangs are about ½ an inch long. To give you an example of what ½ an inch is, about 1 centimeter. The distance between the closest part between my fingers. That is how long her fangs are. She's got 2 of them. They point downwards, and she can inflict a very painful bite. But it's not venomous. It's not going to do anything to us from a chemical point of view. There are baboon spiders in South Africa, one in particular, the common baboon spider, which is of medical importance. In other words, its venom does have an effect on us. But to be honest with you, they are not that common out here. And so from a baboon spider point of view, we don't have to worry about that. So Anastasia, just in conclusion there, all spiders have venom, but not all spiders are venomous to people, if that makes any sense to you. All right. Now, we are walking around Vuyatela. Oh, my leg's going to sleep. We are walking around Vuyatela, and where we heard that lion roar was there, straight through that dead marula onto that crest. That is where we're going to be going right now. We're going to be crossing through the drainage line that is in front of Vuyatela camp and making our way onto that hill to see what is going on over there. And I'm told that Brent has found some leopard tracks heading towards Vuyatela as well, which is going to make for an interesting walk around here, to say the least. What can we expect? Obviously, it takes a lot of luck to bump into a lion just because you heard it roaring a mile or so away from where you're standing. Generally speaking, we look for tracks. We track the animal a little bit, see if we can see him before he sees us or it sees us. Or we wait to hear of any other animals making a noise. This time of the day, lions are still roaming around before they go and lie flat in the heat of the day. And what we're hoping is that this particular animal, or animals in this case, the leopard and the lion in this proximity, scare an impala, scare a kudu, scare some zebra, scare some monkeys, and they all start alarm calling, and then we'll move in there and hopefully have a look. That is how I find animals mostly, is other things find them for me, from human beings to monkeys to impala. I don't have the luck that friend Brent has in tracking them down. Mainly because tracking like that doesn't really interest me much. I much more enjoy the little spider things that we've been seeing this morning. But nevertheless, we have to find this lion, otherwise we're not going to know where he is or what he's up to. It's a nice day. I think as Brent alluded to, it's actually not that warm this morning. He's actually got his jacket on at the moment, and it's because it's not that warm, but it has, I think by 11-12 o'clock it is going to be hammering down over here. Right, so Brent is on his way to Vuyatela, which is where we're standing now, hopefully in search of that leopard. So why don't we go and see what he has to say about what he's doing.
Hello and welcome back. Now, watching news. I'm pretty sure. And William has jumped off the vehicle, and he's coming from that side, so he's jumped off from Jamie and he's tracking down the drainage line, and we're just having a quick look here to see if the tracks come out. So there's some lovely big trees in this area that Tingana has put kills in before, and it is a good spot for leopards. So there we go, you've got those lovely big jackalberries up there that are excellent spots to stash a baby impala or three. And of course there's always a high number of baby impala and young.
Sorry about that, everyone. Not sure why we lost any signal